Hi, thank you for watching Digging to China. I'm Dong Xiong. If you have not done so already, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much. The recent Wagner mutiny has triggered diverse discussions concerning the unlimited and intimate relationship between China and Russia. Chinese democracy activist Wang Dan took to Twitter, raising a thought-provoking question. Given the ongoing events in Russia, could a similar occurrence take place in China if Xi Jinping initiates a war? In response, some netizens expressed their belief that such a scenario is indeed possible, stating that they perceive Xi Jinping to live in constant apprehension. Others pointed out the expected outcome, asserting that regardless of whether it is a coup or mutiny, the Communist Party would ultimately prevail unless there is a widespread popular uprising. Edward Wong, a former Beijing correspondent for the New York Times, retweeted Xinhua news agency's coverage of the incident and commented on Twitter, suggesting that the defection of the Wagner Group could potentially make Xi Jinping reconsider attacking Taiwan amid the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Eunice Yung, the Beijing bureau chief for CNBC, took to Twitter during the Dragon Boat Festival and highlighted the strong interest of Chinese people in the news of Wagner Group leader Prigozhin betraying Putin. The event was being compared to the An-Lushan rebellion that took place during the Tang Dynasty in 755 AD. The hashtag related to mutiny has garnered a remarkable 720 million views. Professor Pei Mingxing from Claremont McKinney College penned an article in Bloomberg on June 26, highlighting Xi Jinping's dissatisfaction with the diminishing authority of his key ally Putin and the significant lessons he derived from the Wagner mutiny. Pei Mingxing wrote, "Although this episode concluded without bloodshed, it was a humiliation for Putin and revealed vulnerabilities within his regime." In Pei Mingxing's analysis, when considering the implications for China, the Wagner mutiny underscores at least three risks that Xi Jinping cannot afford to overlook. The first risk lies in Xi Jinping's need to secure the political loyalty of the military, especially among senior commanders. Pei Mingxing suggests that Xi has surpassed his predecessors in this aspect. Since assuming office in late 2012, Xi initiated an anti-corruption campaign that resulted in the removal of over 100 high-ranking military officials within a span of 5 years. Despite the potential adverse effect on the military's combat effectiveness, Xi might deem the cost of preventing disloyal conduct during times of crisis to be justified. The second risk that Xi Jinping faces is the need to prevent the manifestation of internal conflicts within the military. The escalation of tensions between Prigozhin and senior Russian commanders due to coordination and logistic issues was a clear mistake made by Putin. Xi Jinping, however, aims to avoid repeating this mistake and will ensure that any internal discord within the military remains concealed from the public eye. In recent years, Xi Jinping's anti-corruption campaign within the military has been carried out with greater discretion. The authorities have addressed the issue by discreetly removing senior officers from the National People's Congress and demoting them, without making formal public announcements. Xi Jinping's third risk, as revealed by the Wagner mutiny, is the realization that the CCP's extensive use of nationalism can be a double-edged sword. In recent years, Xi Jinping has adopted a firm stance on territorial issues and openly advocated for the reunification of Taiwan. He consistently emphasizes the importance of being daring and assertive in international affairs, instilling this mindset among lower-ranking officials. However, the excessive wolf warrior rhetoric employed by CCP officials can foster unrealistic expectations among the public. Moreover, extremist nationalists may exploit this situation by promoting even more radical ideologies to surpass the strongmen, similar to what Prigozhin did to Putin. Why is it that whenever significant events unfold in Russia, international public opinion tends to turn its attention to Xi Jinping and link him to those events? What is the reason behind this reflexive response, and what is the logical connection underlying it? Firstly, when Xi Jinping assumed power during his initial visit to Russia in 2013, he openly expressed his admiration for Putin. He conveyed to Putin that they shared similar personalities. Now, what kind of personality does Putin possess? Having emerged from a background in the KGB, he is known for being ruthless and crafty, and he collaborated with the Russian oligarchs to divide the national interests. If Xi Jinping claims to be very much like Putin and shares similar traits, it is not hard to envision some aspects of Xi Jinping's governing style. As a result of Xi Jinping's self-promotion, the international community generally believes that Xi Jinping's mindset bears similarities to Putin's. Consequently, when significant events unfold in Russia, people tend to consider how Xi Jinping might react and the potential implications for China. This logical association has been shaped by Xi Jinping himself. When comparing Xi Jinping's 10-year tenure to Putin's 23-year rule, it becomes evident that these two leaders share significant similarities in their governance. They possess three key characteristics in common. Firstly, both leaders practice favoritism and govern through small inner circles and cliques. Xi Jinping consistently relies on his Xi clique and places trust solely in this inner circle. Similarly, Putin has established a highly exclusive inner circle system. Secondly, both Putin and Xi Jinping actively fuel domestic nationalism and exploit it to mask governance weakness and mistakes. They deliberately create external adversaries to stimulate domestic nationalism, thereby diverting attention from their own shortcomings while consolidating their autocratic rule. Lastly, both leaders exhibit expansionist tendencies reminiscent of ancient monarchs. They strive to secure historical legacies through territorial expansion and are willing to undertake risky actions. Putin seeks to restore Russia's past glory and regain the interests of the former Soviet Union, harboring resentment over its dissolution. Xi Jinping consistently stirs up emotions among the Chinese people by making nationalist promises such as achieving the complete reunification of Taiwan and the motherland, as well as asserting dominance over the South China Sea. Putin's annexation of Crimea, occupation of parts of Georgia, and the current aggression in Ukraine exemplify their remarkable similarities in these aspects. These three characteristics substantiate Xi Jinping's claim that our personalities are similar. Consequently, when significant events unfold in Russia, it is natural for international public opinion to associate them with Xi Jinping and ponder how he might respond. Thirdly, the recent Wagner mutiny has prompted numerous international observers to draw comparisons between Xi Jinping and Putin, raising speculation about whether Xi Jinping might face similar challenges. Putin's cultivation of the Wagner Group resulted in a troublesome entity. Thus, the question arises, could Xi Jinping also confront a similar entity that he himself has fostered? Will Xi Jinping take this into consideration and engage in self-reflection? This topic is of significant concern to the international community. First, let's examine the characteristics of Prigozhin and how he emerged. I believe Prigozhin possesses three significant traits. The first trait is his association with Putin's inner circle. He is a key member of the closely knit group. Initially, he belonged to an interconnected interest group and was subsequently groomed to become a trusted confidant, wielding considerable influence. The second trait is Prigozhin's role in handling covert operations on behalf of Putin. He is entrusted with tasks that cannot be openly discussed. Rather than being a mere puppet for serving Putin's interests and accumulating wealth, Prigozhin is assigned responsibilities that are kept discreet. This is evident from Putin's decision to assign him various logistical and military supply duties, including those pertaining to the armed forces. These actions extend beyond the typical market practices and involve significant transfers of interests. Thus, in addition to engaging in activities such as looting, arson, and plunder as witnessed in conflicts in Africa and Ukraine, Prigozhin also acts as a trusted intermediary for Putin. The third significant trait is that despite being part of the inner circle, Prigozhin holds a contemptuous attitude towards other confidants of Putin. Based on these three key characteristics, let us examine whether there are individuals under Xi Jinping who resemble Prigozhin. When we apply these characteristics for comparison, we can identify at least two individuals who demonstrate similar behavioral patterns to Prigozhin based on publicly available information. Within Xi Jinping's circle, there are two figures who can be seen as having Prigozhin-like qualities. One of them is Wang Qishan and the other is Cai Qi. Do Wang Qishan and Cai Qi embody the three major characteristics? Firstly, they are both trusted confidants. Secondly, they engage in questionable activities on behalf of Xi Jinping. Wang Qishan's role in the anti-corruption campaign and Cai Qi's efforts to address the low-end population and institutions in Beijing, can these be considered as such activities? Of course. Cai Qi even expressed a willingness to dare to kill and dare to fight, which undoubtedly falls into that category. While they may also serve as intermediaries, their involvement in such activities carries greater significance. Thirdly, do they hold disdain for other confidants and wield substantial power? Just observe Wang Qishan during his tenure as the Secretary of the Central Commission for Discipline Inspection, where he exerted an air of superiority. Today, during Xi Jinping's visit to Xiong'an, Cai Qi confidently positioned himself in the center, while Premier Li Qiang stood on the side. Therefore, based on these observations, it can be concluded that Xi Jinping has at least two individuals who bear a resemblance to Prigozhin. Therefore, when people discuss events in Russia and draw parallels with Xi Jinping, it is not without justification. Besides the shared ideology and mindset between Xi Jinping and Putin, the diminishing circle of trust resulting from their dictatorships actually exposes the dictators to increasing insecurity. I came across an intriguing article titled "Xi Jinping will eventually realize that everyone is a bit like a Prigozhin." This article puts forth the viewpoint that in the eyes of a dictator, everyone harbors ambitions to seize their position, even those close confidants who cannot be fully trusted. These individuals understand the dictator's psychology and cater to their preferences. They engage in activities such as exposing one another, claiming superior loyalty while accusing others of harboring secret rebellious intentions. This internal power struggle further constricts the dictator's inner circle. Hence, it is plausible that every dictator is surrounded by a significant number of individuals resembling Prigozhin. This could be a truth or an inevitable pattern. The impact of the recent events in Russia on Chinese society, while not generating major disturbances in the tightly controlled public opinion of the Chinese Communist Party, has profoundly influenced the Chinese society. Moreover, Xi Jinping is the focal point of this impact, which possesses a certain challenge to dictatorial rule. Thank you for watching. Please leave a comment and subscribe to my channel. Just click the subscribe button right here. I'll see you again shortly. Until then, be well.